What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to the Sixers Break Room. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, what is you doing? Subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to like this video. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. All of those are going to be at Sixers Break Room. We are live on YouTube. I hope my audio is working. Is my audio working? Yeah, we working. We working. Okay, cool. Listen, I'ma just treat this. What's up, dog? My dog right next to me. I'ma just treat this like a regular video. Cause I don't really go live. I don't know who's gonna show up to this live. If anybody's gonna show up to the live, I put it out on Twitter, but we'll see. I'm just doing this right off of my iPad. I ain't got no crazy setup. I wanted to talk to the people, and I wanted to do so in a live format if people decided to join. But I also wanted to just share some different thoughts and not have to do it in a way that like I'm recording a video and editing a video and doing those kind of things, right? So I kind of just wanted to just get some thoughts out here. Let me get some water. So the way we gonna do this is I'm gonna if y'all pop into the chat, y'all got some questions, just let me know. Let's see. Cool. So I'm gonna be able to see chat like that. Bet. If you don't have any questions, that's fine too. But anyway, I just want, like I said, I just want to talk about some couple things that you see in the description, man, or in the title. Like, I want to talk about the Sixers and their championship odds this year, if you will. I want to talk about how likely or unlikely I think it is that the Sixers win a championship this year. I want to talk about this whole Joel Embiid versus Nikola Jokic debate for MVP, and I want to talk about whether or not Doc Rivers is a legitimate candidate for Coach of the Year because I think he is. Spoiler alert. But let's just go one down the list, one to the next one, just as the title says. The first thing is first. Is this finally the year? Is this finally the year that the Sixers can win a championship? If y'all hear some noise in the background, it's my dog. She's literally chasing her own tail right now. Shout out to my dog Nola. Um, but is this the year that the Sixers can win a championship? Honestly, truthfully, 100%, I feel like yes. I feel like this is legitimately the year that the Sixers can win a championship. And I think that for a couple of different reasons. And I'll tell you those reasons now. Number one, the Sixers have a superstar of the highest order, a superstar of the highest caliber in Joel Embiid. They also finally have a legitimate star, can get you a bucket, can knock down perimeter shots, can get to the free throw line. Second option in James Harden. They have a young, talented, sharp shooting, slashing third option in Tyrese Maxey, who changes the entire dynamic of the team. I'll talk about that in a moment. You have a team that is super resilient. This team just does not give up. It doesn't matter if they're down 20. It doesn't matter if they're down 10. It doesn't matter if there's 5 minutes left. It doesn't matter if there's 2 minutes left. This team does not quit. It does not mean they win every game. It does not mean they come back in every game. They certainly have come up short a couple times. But you know when you're watching this team that there's no fear with a deficit. There's no cause for panic if we're down 10. There's no cause for panic if we're down 20. This team finds a way to fight back and get into a game. And defensively, this team has elevated its play. It's funny because if you look at the roster construction, if you look at some of the wings and guards that we have, they're not in a vacuum great defenders. James Harden, we know, is not a great defender. Tyrese Maxey is not a great defender. Tobias Harris, I think, is an underrated defender, but he's not known to be a great defender. The only two guys, if you will, that are known to be great defenders in the starting lineup is Joel Embiid and PJ Tucker, who PJ Tucker, his age was showing early on in the season, but he's been playing much better as of late. Jaden McDaniel is a guy that we brought in, very good defender. DeAnthony Melton, the guy that was brought in this year, very good defender. But top to bottom, individually, we don't look like a great defense. But the way we play team defense, the way we sprinkle in 2-3 zone, that is something that has elevated this team in a way that we haven't had in recent memory. We're one of, I think it's three teams. I believe the Cavs, Celtics, and the Sixers. One of only three teams to be top 10 in both offensive rating and defensive rating. I think the Sixers are, I want to say, third on in offensive rating and eight in defensive rating, I believe, as of yesterday. I don't know what that changed after last night's game. So this team defends at a high level. And the bench, while not super deep, has become super effective, right? George Niang is super effective. Jaden McDaniels is super effective. D'Anthony Melton is super effective. Shake Milton is super effective. Paul Reed is coming on and is becoming more effective. Like, this team has all of the pieces. This team has the DNA. This team has what it takes to win a championship. I'm going to try to pull up the schedule. My laptop is like behind my iPad, so sorry if I get all close up in y'all face. I had this all pulled up, and then, of course, my laptop, like, timed out. I'm looking at the remaining schedule right now for the Sixers, right? So if you're looking at the standings, right now the Sixers are in third. The Sixers are in third. The same number of losses as the Boston Celtics. They're 46-22. The Boston Celtics are 48-22. So they got a couple more games played than us. You got the Milwaukee Bucks, who are 50-19. Can the Sixers catch the Bucks? Right? That's kind of the question. Can the Sixers catch the Bucks and grab that one seed? I don't think that we need a one seed, but if you're looking at the schedule here, like, who does Philadelphia have left? 46-22. If my math is right, that puts us at 68. So we got 14 games left. Charlotte on Friday. Charlotte can be a W. Indiana Pacers can be a W. Chicago in the next couple of days, we got Charlotte on the 17th, Indiana on the 18th, Chicago on the 20th, at Chicago on the 22nd. That's a tough stretch of games. 4 games in like 6 nights. I'm not gonna sit here and say that they're gonna win every game. Even though those are 4 winnable games, you got to expect them to drop one of those, just the amount of games they're playing in that short period of time. Then they go to play Golden State, at Phoenix, at Denver, home against Dallas, home against Toronto, at Milwaukee, home against Boston, home against Miami, at Atlanta, at Brooklyn. I mean, when I'm looking, Embiid, baby, facts, he is a beast. Ain't no argument there. But when I'm looking at the last 14 games, like, it's very possible we finish the year 10-4. I don't even think that's like super. I don't even think that would be super difficult to do, to finish this year 10-4, right? Let's conservatively say they finish 9-5. That will put you at 55-27. Not enough to get the 1 seed, maybe enough to get the 2 seed. Right, but the difference in the 2 seed and the 3 seed, I mean, obviously, if you're the 2 seed, you're home in the second round, presumably against Boston. I'm not sure this team needs to be home against Boston. Like, I don't feel like we struggle playing Boston in Boston. Maybe I'm tripping. Like, let me scroll up and see what happens when we have played Boston in Boston. We played at Boston first game of the year, which Embiid was clearly not in shape. Embiid was not healthy. We didn't play well that game. Let's see. When else did we play at Boston? At Boston, we lost by 7. So, I mean, but we lost to Boston at home, too. So, it's like we lost 2 games at Boston. We lost at home against Boston. Like, Boston kind of has had our number this year. So, I'm not seeing how being home or being on the road is going to make much of a difference. Bench doesn't play well in Boston. I mean, this is the way I always look at it, right? Like, I'm not saying I don't want home court advantage, or I mean, obviously you want home court advantage, right? But, like, if you want to win a championship, you're going to have to win games on the road. You know what I mean? So it's like, whether or not they get a 2 seed or a 3 seed, at the end of the day, I don't think that's going to be the difference in us winning or losing a series. I don't think we lose a series to Boston, and the reason is because we didn't have home court. I think if we lose to Boston, it's just going to be because they beat us. You know what I mean? Which is possible, but we'll just have to wait and see. So, like, is this the year, right? Like, is this the year the Sixers finally get over the hump? Well, I truly believe that it is, for all those reasons that I outlined at the start of this, right? The fact that we have a superstar, the fact that our second and third options are very, very, very good basketball players. The fact that our defense has ramped up this year, we're top 10 in defensive rating. The fact that our bench, while not super deep, has become super effective. The way that we've been able to sprinkle in man, sprinkle in zone, the way we are resilient and we fight back every single game. I think this year just feels different. And I'm going to say that I feel like I'm not being biased in saying that, but naturally I probably am being a little biased, even if I don't realize it, because I am a Sixers fan. Sorry if y'all hear that scratching. My dog is, what are you trying to get? She's just trying to play with me, so she keeps throwing this rope at my feet. But I really feel like this can be the year that we win it all. Again, this ain't gonna be a super long live. If y'all got something any questions y'all want to ask, so throw them in the chat. McDaniels will be good for us in dealing with Boston's wings. That is a fact. Come playoff time, we just need Embiid to stay aggressive and be healthy. I think the health is the more important one. That boy always finding a way to get hurt. That cannot happen this year. I don't want to, and it can't be he hurt and we try to blame somebody else. Like everybody try to blame the Raptors for elbowing him. Like, nah, you got to stop being reckless. Take care of your body. Stop falling every time you take it to the basket. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got to stay healthy. Embiid versus Jokic. This has been getting a lot of traction on Twitter lately. Not even just lately, just in general. Here's how I feel about Jokic and Embiid. My feelings have changed. Early in the year, I would have told you I felt like Jokic was the better player because of the versatility. Like, there was not necessarily Jokic did things better than Embiid. It wasn't like that, but it's like he could do so much more as far as handling the ball, running the point, essentially. You know what I mean? He could score from the low post and be your point guard. He could knock down mid-range shots and handle the ball. He could dime people up. He can also go get his own bucket. Like, Jokic does so many things. And defensively, while it's very clear he's not great, we'll say he's not great defensively, I didn't think he was so bad defensively that gave Embiid the edge as being a better player. But throughout the course of this year, I feel like Embiid has made it very clear I'm better than Nikola Jokic, and I feel like he's taking it personally. I don't feel like Jokic takes the matchup personally, which is not a good thing or a bad thing. I think that's just what it is. I think for Jokic, he's just hooping, and he going to just do what he do, and I respect it. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I feel like Joel Embiid has taken that matchup extremely personal. And I feel like it showed when they played each other last in Philly. Embiid seemed like for him, that matchup meant everything. And for Jokic, it just felt like another game. Again, I'm not saying whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just saying it very matter-of-factly. That's how it felt. So I feel like all year long, Embiid has tried to make a point that I'm better than that guy. And I feel like in wanting to do that, he has stepped up his defense even more so than he has in the past. Joel Embiid has always been a very good defender, but this year he's playing defense on another level. Did you guys see the play last night near the end of the game where he slid over? I think it was, what's his name? Like Seti Usman. He slides over. I think it was his drive. He contests the layup, forcing him to pass it to the opposite big, Evan Mobley, who's on the block, and he turns around and blocks Mobley's shot. Like, it wasn't the same as when Giannis hedged Chris Paul or Devin Booker and then blocked the alley-oop in the finals. It wasn't that incredible because it wasn't like a hedge to a block shot. But to contest the layup and then be able to get up off the floor again to block 7-foot Mobley's dunk, that was extremely impressive. Or earlier in the game when he hits the tough basket from the right short corner and then sprints back and blocks, I believe it was Donovan Mitchell's layup on the other end. Like, that was extremely impressive. The things Joel Embiid is doing defensively this year is just on another level. Bro, Jokic hasn't outscored Embiid his entire career. Are you saying Jokic didn't take Joel seriously his entire career? Embiid is clearly better. No, I'm not saying that Jokic hasn't taken Joel Embiid seriously his entire career. I'm not saying that Jokic has never taken Joel Embiid seriously. I didn't say that at all. I said that I don't think that Nikola Jokic takes the matchup personally. That's not the same as taking it seriously. I think he does take Joel Embiid seriously. I think if you ask him, he would say Joel Embiid is a spectacular special player. But like, I don't know if y'all have siblings. I don't know if you have a sibling, right? But like when you, how do I? This is gonna sound like a funny analogy. Like I have brothers, right? My two older brothers would beat me in Madden every damn time we played. Cause I was that guy that was trying to always reverse field with the running backs, always trying to throw the fly patterns, always trying to hit home runs, always throwing the ball on the run because I didn't understand that, you can't just roll out right and throw it all the way back left. I'm a kid and it's a video game and I didn't understand that. My brothers would always beat me in Madden. Always. I would play my friends in Madden, and I was a good Madden player. I'm still a good Madden player. I probably beat all of y'all in Madden. Um, but when I would play my friends, I would beat my friends all the time, and it didn't feel it like I was happy, but it wasn't personal. I'm telling y'all, when I played my brothers, it was personal. It felt different. It hit different when I lost to my brothers versus losing to my friends in Madden. And when I finally beat, I listen. You want to know how I could tell you it was personal? I remember the first time I beat both of my brothers in Madden. The first time I beat my brother, aka Raider Honcho on YouTube, 20 plus K subscribers. The first time I beat my brother in Madden, I had the Arizona Cardinals. This must have been Madden 06 because I had it on the PS2 still because I remember at first when they came out on the 360, they was whack. Look how precise I am. This is how you know it was personal. I had the Arizona Cardinals, and I believe he had the St. Louis Rams. That part I could be wrong about, but I beat him in overtime on a field goal. And when that field goal went through the upright, my brother threw the controller so damn hard at the wall, and somehow the wire didn't unplug from the console, so the whole console flew across the room and hit the wall. I ain't even care if my PlayStation was broken. I was the happiest man on earth. Why? Because I took that matchup personally. I was like, when the MJ meme, and I took that personally. That was me playing my brother in Madden. And my other brother, shout out to my brother John, who's got a podcast, Sometimes I'll Be Right, sports podcast. Yo, if y'all like sports and y'all like podcasts, check out my brother's podcast, Sometimes I'll Be Right. Sometimes he be wrong, though. He be on there wilding. But the first time I beat him in Madden was Madden 09 on the PS3. I had the Atlanta Falcons. He had the Dallas Cowboys. I'm a Falcons fan. He's a Cowboys fan. And I remember the first time I beat him, and I almost choked the game away. I believe I was up 21-0 at halftime. And we ain't do the 21 rule because, again, this was personal. We was going to play them 4 quarters. And I'm trying to run up the score on my mans. But now he came back, and I think I ended up beating him. I want to say it was 28-24 or 27-24 I ended up beating him. You see what I mean? Like, that's what I mean when I say personal. Like, Joel Embiid can probably tell you Jokic's stat line and his stat line the last time they played and the score of the game. I bet you if you ask Jokic probably doesn't remember either of their stat lines because he don't take it personal. So that's what I mean. To my man in the chat who said, do you think that Jokic doesn't take him seriously? Like, no, I think he does take him very seriously. I just don't think he takes the matchup personally where it keeps him up at night if he were to lose to Joel Embiid. I think Joel Embiid, if he loses to Jokic, it bothers him. And when people say Jokic is better, I think it bothers him. I think Jokic is like, whatever. Y'all don't. If somebody said Jokic, you're not one of the 10 best players in the league, I think Jokic would be like, all right, whatever, cool. Whereas Embiid would be like, are you serious? And then go give you 50 the next night. That's what I mean by that. So who's the MVP? I think it's very clear that Joel Embiid is the MVP right now. In fact, I think the people who thought Jokic was the MVP thinks that Joel Embiid is not an MVP. And I could tell you why. I once heard a saying there's 2 ways to have the biggest house in the neighborhood. You can either build yours up or you could tear everybody else's down. And what Jokic fans did for the first half of the year, all they did was build their house up. People who love Jokic and you know what I'm saying, felt like Jokic was the MVP, all they did was tell you how great Jokic was. They gave you his true shooting percentage. They gave you his triple-double stat line. They gave you his plus-minus. They gave you his LeBron rating and his Raptor rating and his VORP rating. And yes, those are all real things. They gave you all of that, and they never disparaged, diminished, or disrespected any other player. They just told you how great Jokic was. Well, go on Twitter, y'all. Go on Twitter and see what those same people are saying now. Those same people are now calling Joel Embiid a free throw merchant. Those same people now are saying how Giannis just plays bully ball and playing football out there. Those same people now tell you how Joel Embiid is flopping all the time. Those same people now tell you how Giannis can't shoot the ball. Those same people now tell you how Giannis isn't as good offensively as Jokic is offensively. Those same people now try to tell you how Jokic's defense is actually low-key just as good, if not better, than Joel Embiid's if you look at advanced metrics. Do you see what I'm saying, how the conversation has shifted? It went from confidence in what their man was doing and just praising what their man's was doing to now it's let me diminish other people. Let me tell you everything that's wrong with this guy. Let me tell you how that guy's not that good. Let me tell you how this guy only is great because he's getting a bunch of free throws. The way the discourse has changed has shown me and told me, indicated to me that the feelings around the MVP has changed. You see, when you're confident in your mans, when you're confident in what you do, you don't got to talk about what anybody else is doing. You know what I'm saying? Like when you know that you doing your thing and you know that your man is gonna win the MVP and you know that he's the best player in the league, you don't got to talk about how bad everybody else is or the problem and shortcomings of everybody else's game because you're confident in what's going on. And that was Nikola Jokic's fans. But now on Twitter, all they want to do is show clips of Joel Embiid throwing the ball out of bounds or showing clips of how Giannis didn't get called for an offensive foul or how Giannis travels or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And I believe that that is an indication of insecurity from the fans and belief that, you know what, maybe Jokic is not the MVP. Maybe he's not the MVP. Shout out to Princeton, by the way, who knocked off Arizona. I'm a Jersey boy. You can smell the fear. Facts. Embiid be home on the off days watching Jokic tapes like this the MVP in Joel's voice. That's mad funny. But yeah, man, I think that's what it is. And listen, advanced metrics, like a lot of people gave me a lot of flack, man, because I kind of said some things on Twitter that irked some people about advanced metrics. And I'm not anti-analytics. I say it all the time. I'm not anti-analytics. Like, guys, I'm a math major. I literally got degrees in mathematics. Like, I believe in the numbers. I believe in statistics. I believe in formulas. I believe in all of those things. It's what I studied. And people would try to tell me, you don't know how to read the data. No, like that's what I did. Like, that's what I went to school for, to read data and do all those things. However, numbers only tell part of the story. And numbers, while factual, can still be manipulated to make your argument. It's like if you want to, it's kind of like how anything you want to argue in the world, any opinion, any side you want to take, no matter what it is, you can find information, statistics, data. You know, you can find anything to back your argument. So just saying like the numbers don't lie or like these stats are you want to ignore the numbers. No. But how you use the numbers matters. Right? Like a flathead screwdriver is a great tool, but I'm not going to use it for to nail something down. It's not the right tool. So when you're talking about who the MVP is or who the best, like throwing out all these numbers are not necessarily the right tool or the right thing for the job. And the most valuable player award should go to someone who brings the most value. And basketball is played on two ends of the floor. It is not just defense. It is not just offense. Joel Embiid is not the MVP because of how great he is defensively. And when people just make the argument about his defense and being why he should win the MVP, I don't agree with that. Just like when Nikola Jokic, when everybody talks about how great his offensive numbers are, and that's why he's MVP, I don't agree with that. You got to bring it on both ends. Joel Embiid is leading the league in scoring and shutting down the paint. Joel Embiid is hitting game-winning jump shots and game-saving blocks. Joel Embiid is very clearly having an impact on the defensive end of the floor, even when he's not getting stats defensively. He is equal on both sides. He's truly one of the best in the league. That's a fact. What Jokic fans always tell me is that when Jokic went to the Western Conference Finals in the bubble, therefore he's better. I feel like Jokic got carried by Jamal Murray, and Embiid has to carry a bench full of corpses. Second year scoring champ incoming. But when you consider what he's doing on both ends of the floor, I mean, I just don't see how he's not the MVP. Because the fact of the matter is, Jokic cannot provide the value defensively that Joel Embiid does. He just can't. It doesn't mean he's bad. See, that's the problem with our culture, especially the sports talk stuff. When you make videos on YouTube and you have a Twitter account, like I'm very, very far from famous, guys. I mean, look, I got 2,000 subs and only 11 people popped out. Now 12 people popped out to the live. First of all, let me take a moment to say I appreciate you guys, because you guys can be doing anything anywhere in the world right now, and instead you kicking it with me. So I appreciate you. Don't forget to hit that. Don't forget to hit that like button. I appreciate you guys. But when you do this sports thing, it's like if you say somebody's great, people immediately hear you think the other guy sucks. When you say that this guy is great on defense, they hear this guy sucks on defense. If you say this guy is a great scorer, they hear this guy can't score. It's not this or that all of the time. There is a gray area. There is a middle ground. So when I say that Jokic cannot do the things that Embiid does on defense, I'm not saying Jokic sucks on defense. I'm not saying he's the worst defender in the league. I'm just saying he cannot impact the game defensively the way that Joel Embiid can. Just like Joel Embiid cannot run the point guard position the way that Jokic can, because many times Jokic is really the one in Denver. And if you know hoops, you can see that. I don't care if he's listed as a center. He's often playing the one. He's often initiating the offense, setting the table for guys. Joel Embiid cannot do that. He cannot impact the game offensively the way that Jokic can in that way. You see what I'm saying? And that's why I'm trying to illustrate that I'm fair, man. I'm not this guy that just thinks that Embiid can do everything and is head and shoulders way better than Nikola Jokic. I'm not saying that either. But I'm saying for this year, when you're talking about the most valuable player this year, and you see the value being brought on both ends of the floor from one guy that's just not being brought from the other guy. That's not hate. That's just facts. And I try my best to give you real insight, real talk, instead of just how I feel about stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's why I have a video on this channel. Go back when I said the debate is over. And I made a whole video about how I felt like Jokic was a better player than Joel Embiid. Because, just being honest, earlier in the year, if you say, yo, who's the better player? I would be like, yo, Jokic is. Because I felt like his impact offensively was so crazy that even his shortcomings defensively, he made up for it. That's how I felt at the time. Because I never felt like Jokic is the worst defender ever. He's just not the level of Joel Embiid. And that's what we got to stop doing on Twitter. In fact, I want to make this push. We got to stop doing that. In this community, in my community, I want us to stop doing that. I want us to stop feeling like if somebody says that this person is great at this, it means the other person is not. So the next time you're on Twitter and you say, like, Joel Embiid is incredible defensively, just acknowledge that does not mean that somebody else sucks defensively. It's not this guy or that guy all the time. It's not this or that all the time. It can be a little bit of both. But according to Jokic fanboys, Embiid is not even close to Jokic. Just like, yeah, there's some people who do that. But guess what? Being fair to some Embiid fanboys who think that Jokic is nowhere near Embiid. So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, they say be the change you want to see in the world, man. If we want people to stop acting that type of way to Joel Embiid, we got to stop acting that type of way to Jokic. All right. But for those reasons, that's why I feel like Joel Embiid is the MVP of this league. Because Joel Embiid, when you need him, he's going to give you 35. He's going to give you 10 to 15 rebounds. He's going to block 3 or 4 shots. He's going to hit free throws down the stretch. He's going to hit a game winner down the stretch. He's going to do all those things. If I need a game-winning play defensively, I know I can keep him in there. If I need a game-winning play offensively, I know I can keep him in there. And to me, that's telling. And it's a regular season award, so I don't want to put too much on the postseason when it comes to this award. Not saying just in general when it comes to debating players, but when it comes to this award. However, it will never leave my memory that facing elimination, when Denver was down 3-0 to the Warriors, facing elimination, they took Jokic off the floor. Jokic was on the bench, and then they praised him on the telecast because he was calling out the play from the bench because he's super smart and he knew what they were running. But I asked the question, if you know what they're running, then why can't you be on the floor and stop it? He has limitations, especially defensively, but I will never forget that. That will always be, imprinted on my brain, just like I'll never forget when my man Ben Simmons didn't take that layup. God damn it. But yeah, man, that's why I think that Nikola Jokic is the MVP. That's why I think Joel Embiid is the MVP and Nikola Jokic is not the MVP. Excuse me. Yo, if you're in here, man, and you're not subscribed to the channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. 16 people in here, only 8 likes. Let's get those likes up. I appreciate everybody who's in here, man. I will do these lives more. Matter of fact, if you like this live stream, if you're enjoying this, let me know in the live chat, man. Let me know in the chat right now. Just give a little thumbs up emoji if you're enjoying this. Last thing I want to talk about before I got to head out of here. Coach of the Year. Coach of the Year award. Oh, I got some people, man. I got to go back. Where my Twitter at? Let me pull up Twitter on my phone real quick. I tweeted out, and I stand by this. But this is what got the people real turned up. I tweeted out. Where is it? Sorry, this is great live material, huh? Bro, I feel you, but let's be real. Jokic can't close a game the way Embiid can. He can't take over like Embiid can. I agree. So I said on Twitter, Doc Rivers should be in the running for the Coach of the Year. 44-22 record. Embiid had missed. I was off one game with all of these, by the way. But I said Embiid had missed 14 games. Harden missed 18 games. Maxey missed 20 games. It was 13. I think it was actually 13, 17, and 19. When I looked up their record and the games played, it wasn't updated yet. So at the time, they were 44-22. They are now 46-22. And those numbers remain. Embiid hasn't played 13. Harden hasn't played in 17. And Maxey hasn't played in 20. And yet they're still 46-22. And people were mad, boy. That tweet got 43,000 views. 100 likes. So not everybody disagreed. But some of the responses I got was crazy, bro. Like somebody said, and this is when they're 44-22. Somebody said, with this roster, they should have 60 wins. I said, you think they should be 60-6? What? Somebody else I had said, yo, their 3 best players missed a combined 49, 50 games. And you want them to be the 1 seed? He said, well, when you put it that way, it doesn't sound right. Well, that's the only way to put it. That's the reality. To be missing their top guys as long as they did, and to have the record they do and be in the current standing they are, I think that warrants Coach of the Year candidacy. Now, when again, people got to stop thinking that it's all or nothing all the time when they're reading and listening to things. I try my best to explain exactly what I mean. And sometimes I talk too much. Sometimes I'm very wordy because I'm always trying to explain myself. That's a problem that I have in my personal life too. Ask my girl. Sometimes she just probably want me to just shut the hell up because I talk too much. Same with my brothers, my sister, my mom. They probably just think I talk too much sometimes. But if I'm saying that I think he should be in the running, that just means he should be a legitimate candidate. I'm not saying he should win. I saw somebody in the chat just said Mike Brown got it locked up. I agree with you that if I had to pick someone right now, I'm picking Mike Brown. No argument there. I would pick Mike Brown. I would pick Mike Brown to win Coach of the Year. So I'm not saying that Doc Rivers should be the favorite. I'm not saying he should 100% win the award. I'm just saying right now they're 46-22. Their three best players have missed about 50 games. They have a winning record in all cases. Like I think in the 13 games Joel Embiid missed, they're 9-4. In the 17 games that Harden missed, I think they're like 11-6. And then in the 19 games that Tyrese Maxey has missed, I think they're like 13-6. So it's like they're winning games without their best players. They had stretches where, like, when James Harden went down, fans were like, yo, like, what's going to happen with this team? When Maxey went down, I was like, yo, what's going to happen with this team? He made the decision to move Maxey to the bench. Maxey went off for a little bit. Maxey started struggling. He made the decision to bring him back into the starting lineup. Maxey's going off again. He's pushing all the right buttons. I think the reality is, and I get it, but let's be real with ourselves. By the way, shout out to my man Taj, man. He said, you spitting facts. You got a new subscriber. I appreciate you. I think the reality is people don't like Doc Rivers. This fan base hates, I would go as far as to say hate Doc Rivers. I say that because many people who follow me who are Sixers fans and their Twitter accounts, the bio says fire Doc Rivers. Follow me if you hate Doc Rivers, etc., etc. And I ain't mad at anybody that has that opinion. Again, you have a right to your own opinion. And people will talk about the blown playoff series, the blown 3-1 leads, and all of that. Those are all facts. But that's in the past, and this is a regular season award. Just like I'm not looking to hold it against Jokic or Embiid or anybody else for the lack of playoff success with the MVP award. I don't think you can hold a coach's playoff resume against him for the Coach of the Year award. Also, I'm not even saying he should be the front runner. I'm just saying he should be in the running for it. 46-22 when your three best players have missed a combined 50 games. Not to mention, Toby has missed some time. P.J. Tucker has missed some time. You brought in new pieces like DeAnthony Melton and Jaden McDaniels, who came in halfway through the year, who you got to work into the lineup. You lose Matisse Thybulle, who was a situational player or a role player. You start with Montrezl Harrell, and you stop playing Montrezl Harrell. You're trying to find time for Paul Reed. You're doing all these things, yet you're still 46-22. I think that warrants consideration for Coach of the Year. That's all I'm saying. He should be in the running. I feel you, bro, but Joel and James are considered tier 1 stars in the league. You won't respect Doc Rivers for having stars despite our winning streaks. Many teams have stars that don't go on the kind of winning streaks that the Sixers have. And the fact of the matter is the Sixers would probably have the 1 seed if they didn't start the season so bad. And that's not defending Doc Rivers. We shouldn't have started that bad. Point blank, period. I'll say it all the time. It wasn't all on Doc. The players got to take some responsibility too. Like Joel Embiid coming into the season out of shape is not the coach's fault. Joel Embiid coming into the season hurt, not really the coach's fault. The injuries that guys got banged up early, a little bit on Doc, probably overplaying James Harden, but also a little bit just unlucky. Like, those kind of things happen. Regardless of it all, starting the year 12-11 was unacceptable. Starting the year 0-3 was unacceptable. But since being 12-11 on December 4th, from December 5th till now, you go from 12-11 to 46-22. If my math is right, that's 34-11. 34-11 since December 5th. Best record in the NBA. Again, I'm not saying he should win it, but I'm saying he should be in the running. All of that and your top 10 in offensive rating and defensive rating, one of only 3 teams to do it. I believe 3rd in offensive rating, 8th in defensive rating, maybe 9th in defensive rating. They said on the telecast last night at the start of the Cavs game. I'm just saying, it warrants consideration. I'm not saying he should win it, and if you disagree, that's fine too. Everybody has a right to their opinion. But that's why I said what I said about him, and a lot of people on Twitter got angry. We have a new roster, though. I give them a pass for starters. Exactly. If that's part of coaching too. Like, he had to figure out, who do I have? Who plays well with who? What lineups are gonna work? Truth be told, James Harden coming into the year has still only played, 30 games with Joel Embiid? Like, that was still new. It didn't feel new. It didn't feel new because, like, he came at the trade deadline, so we had him for, this back half of the year, and we had a couple playoff series with him, so it didn't feel new, but that was still new. And again, excuses or no excuses, 12-11 is unacceptable to start the year. But since then, 34-11 in the best record in the NBA, having your three best players miss about 50 games on the year, being top 10 in offensive and defensive rating, and above all else, the number one thing, the team does not quit. And if they did not like the coach and they didn't care for the coach, they would lose a lot of these games where they're down big. Clearly, they don't quit, and that is a credit to Doc Rivers and the entire staff, not just Doc Rivers, because it's not all him. They say guys like Sam Cassell do a lot and make a huge impact. But I'm just saying, with the record, the time missed from their best players, the resiliency, the rating on offense and defense, both being in the top 10, one of only 3 teams, I believe if it was any other guy, if it was not Doc Rivers and we had Tyronn Lue as our coach, or we had Sam Cassell as our coach, or we had anybody as our coach, I think our fan base would be like, yo, like, he should be in the running for coach of the year. But because it's Doc and there's trauma there, I feel like we don't give Doc that kind of credit, And I get it. I just don't agree with it. But I'm going to leave it there, man. So just to summarize, to cap this off, the title says, is this the year? Is this finally the year for the Sixers? Right now, on this, I almost said December, on March 16th, I'm going to say yes. I believe this is the year. I believe we finally have the pieces. We have the effort, the consistent effort, the resiliency, and it just feels different. I believe that this is the year that we finally get over the hump. Are we going to win a championship? I don't know. Do I expect this team to make it to the finals? Yes, I do. Joel Embiid versus Nikola Jokic for MVP. I think it's Joel Embiid. I think he has made the most, or he has been the most valuable on both ends of the floor consistently throughout the year. It's not a knock on anybody else. I'm not saying that Jokic is not having a special year or not providing value. I just don't think it's the most. I think Joel Embiid is the most valuable. And then I believe that Doc Rivers should be in the running, not a favorite. Mike Brown should be the favorite. I would give the award to Mike Brown. I mean, as of now, who knows how this year is going to end. But Mike Brown should be the front runner. But I think Doc Rivers, with the record we have, the injuries and times from our top 3 players, the fact that this team never quits, I think all of that, and the fact that we have the best record in the NBA since December 5th, I think all of that are reasons why Doc Rivers should be in the running for Coach of the Year. And I'm going to just leave it there. If you're in the chat still and you haven't hit that like button, man, please hit that like button. I appreciate every single one of you guys for popping out. You could be doing anything else with anybody else, anywhere else, but you kicking it here with me, so I appreciate you. If you want to see more lives like this, just let me know in the comments of my videos. I had a really good time. I appreciate you guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Like this video. Comment on my videos, boost that engagement. Let me know if you want more live streams. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. All of those are going to be at Sixers Breakroom. If you want to support the channel in other ways, you can hit that super thanks in the comment section. You can become a member. That link is in the description of all my videos. And I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Peace and much love to you. I'm out.